So, what is going on, guys? This is Ryan here.
And this is other Ryan here.
And today we once again have another interesting theory for you all. Now this one is actually a fan theory, and this one comes in from Joseph Caneffel. So thank you very much for your submission, and I think it's actually one which has been speculated a very long time, isn't it?
Yes, and his theory is basically that Golden Freddy was the cause of the bite of 87.
Yeah, now I think the community speculated this for a very, very long time, but since we actually know the existence, or should I say the confirmed existence of Springtrap, it seems to have shifted the weight more over to him, isn't it? And everyone kind of thinks that maybe he is the real responsible candidate for the murders.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, obviously we think it's Springtrap, but some of the facts of the Golden Freddy being the suspect has actually shifted. Like, for example, Joseph goes on to say that in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 on the custom night, when you put in 1987, which is 1987, you cannot play the game. You're simply jump scared by Golden Freddy.
Yeah, and doesn't it freeze on the screen of his face, kind of staring deeply into the camera, or should I say, not staring deeply because he's actually got no pupils?
Yeah, and I think it literally just exits out your game. I'm not sure. I can't really remember.
Yeah, either crashes or it definitely leaves you no other option but to exit the game and restart it, and it's very interesting why this sequence of events would actually occur, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, why would Scott purposefully put in this Golden Freddy jump scare when you put in the numbers 1987, which is highly known to be the bite of 87.
Exactly.
It's almost like a direct hint towards Golden Freddy being the suspect.
Yeah, or at least something who's, maybe he's involved in some way or another with the bite of 87. I think I remember reading somewhere that Scott actually put this in an update, so originally this didn't happen, but after the update it seemed to have happened, so Scott obviously acknowledged this and put it in after the game had originally been produced. So yeah, it leaves a lot of questions and it is very interesting. I think on that point, we're now going to move over to Five Nights at Freddy's 1 Night 4, and more importantly, the phone call.
As we know, Night 4 is the demise of the phone guy.
So we speculate. I'm going to put that in right there.
Yeah, so we speculate, yes.
Yeah.
As we know, he is locked in a back room somewhere.
Yes.
The last thing we seem to hear is the Golden Freddy scream. And this could also hint towards Golden Freddy being like a malicious kind of animatronic.
Yeah, well, it makes you think, though, because we've been speculating for a while now that perhaps he was the other suit that had the crank ability, and if that's the case, what about if someone was actually controlling him when this was happening? Maybe he got killed by someone.
Oh god, yeah, that's quite a good point, actually.
So what about if someone was actually in this suit and it appears that, wow, I think for a long time the community speculated that the purple guy was the phone guy, but this could actually debunk that entirely, and it could make you think that there must be some kind of additional murderer who's actually still wreaking havoc in the establishments.
Yeah, that's just made me think, because obviously
what about this one? The purple Freddy is actually a very similar shape to the golden Freddy. We don't actually see any of the animatronics in this phone call, we only hear them. What about if purple Freddy is like a direct representation? We know he's being controlled now in the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 minigames. What about if he's actually murdered by the purple Freddy?
Oh god, yeah, that's a very good point.
Because, I mean, maybe the purple Freddy could kind of represent like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde split personality of this one animatronic. Maybe when he's yellow he's not in use, and maybe when he's purple he's in use, it could be.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, like, because the Golden Freddy scream is like a proper low-hum adult kind of scream, isn't it? So what if this is actually the scream of the murderer before he takes your life, almost?
Oh boy, now we're onto something. Wow, that was actually a really great point we needed to raise there. And you know what? That was actually spontaneous.
Yes, I mean, when you get the fire burning, it just burns quite a lot. So
let's not burn down the establishment for this one.
Yeah, it's already been burned. So we know Golden Freddy to be out of use. Now, is this because of the bites itself, or is this because of the suit being used by somebody evil and they just don't want it? They don't want it associated with the establishment anymore.
Yeah, and this could actually lead back to one of the minigames in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and I think it might be the one where we have to insert the secret code onto the wall tiles. We're transported to a minigame which most speculate to be the first Freddy Fazbear Diner, and we can control the Golden Freddy character. Now, obviously he's in use here, but we don't know if it's the actual animatronic form or if something is actually controlling him. I personally believe maybe something is actually controlling him in terms of a human under the suit. Yeah, it could be that maybe the incident happened around that time, and then after that they kind of scrapped him and left him, just to the side.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense how, he was probably the main, mascot at one point, and all of a sudden he's just been chucked to the side. There must be a deeper reason behind it, and obviously we know the company not to get rid of the suits, because as we know, Springtrap was dangerous, wasn't he? And they didn't get rid of him.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're keeping this Golden Freddy suit in the back, I mean, it could also represent that the animatronic's deadly, or it could have a different reason. Like we said, it could have been the guy controlling it. They just don't want anything to do with it anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the most important thing to think about is that at the end of the day, he's golden. What does gold represent? It represents kind of like an importance, doesn't it?
Yes.
So that alone should tell us that why wouldn't they choose to include this animatronic maybe on the main stage all the time if he's golden? I mean, wow. I'd have him absolutely everywhere. It shows that he's kind of a main mascot, and he's definitely got some importance.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so now we're going to be shifting over and thinking about something which may actually almost add on to the idea that Springtrap is the responsible victim of the bite of 87. It doesn't necessarily mean that when we say Golden Freddy was involved, he's the actual main culprit of it all. What about if in fact Golden Freddy simply assisted the person operating Springtrap to almost commit the act of the bite of 87?
Yeah, as we've already speculated in the past, we believe there to be two purple guys. So what if these two guys were using both the Golden Freddy suit and the Springtrap suit to work in harmony with each other to kill these children?
Exactly, and I think the idea that there is definitely two characters in the Five Nights at Freddy's establishment who seem to be acting together, as you said, with the two purple guys. One looking kind of very deranged and dazed a lot of the time, and then the other one with the glowy white eyes. I mean, oh, here's a good point, actually. Here's a very good point. You know, when we actually see the other guy who seems very dazed and stuff.
Yes.
He doesn't actually have white eyes. Now, Golden Freddy never has these white eyes too.
Very good point, actually.
That could mean that maybe he's actually operating him, and the Springtrap character does have these white eyes, so then the other one could be operating him.
Ah, that's a very good point,
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, and I think one final point to actually end on is when we actually enter the minigame in Five Nights at Freddy's 3 and we play as Golden Freddy, we actually have to go through some of the various rooms, and we find the one child on his own, don't we?
Yes.
What about if that one child is actually the victim of the bite of 87?
Oh, good lord.
And, you know, what about if maybe Springtrap did actually commit the murder? He seems very content on the stage. He seems to be bouncing around. He's happy. But what about if the guy who was in the Golden Freddy suit kind of felt some remorse and thought, hey, maybe I should try and free this child's soul for what I helped do or did? You know, it's like, we don't actually know who did it, but I think Golden Freddy must have some kind of involvement within it. It only seems to make so much sense with the 1987 inserted code in the custom night, and, you know, just how everything seems to unfold. It just makes too much sense, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's
also
definitely involved,
with the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 cutscenes as well. He's a very main kind of animatronic within those cutscenes as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think I actually want to take a look back at those and really discuss those because, I mean, whilst we briefed over them and we found some interesting things out a couple of months back, I think there's still a lot to be said with those, and they definitely represent something a little bit. So, okay then, guys, that was a pretty intense discussion, I must say, on the Golden Freddy character being involved some way or another in the bite of 87. Hopefully you guys did, of course, enjoy this video. And I think we're going to end it right there. So guys, if you did enjoy, be sure to like the video. And hey, if you're new around here, why not subscribe for more daily theories and also gameplay videos. So yeah, thank you very much for watching the video, guys. And we will see you on the next one.
Goodbye, guys.
Want to see even more content from us?
Consider liking and subscribing to ensure you'll see all content in the foreseeable future.
And hey, why not check out our past 2 videos?